Okay. Very good morning to all of you. And good morning to even online students. Okay. Okay, this much students today? Fine. Okay. So in your last lecture, we have started with your unit number 3. Okay. That was your IPC, Interprocess Communication. So first of all, do tell me, what do you understand by interprocess communication? Offline students, this is the last and the final time for this semester. I'm telling you, if you are sitting in my class offline mode, you have to be in offline mode. Laptops, phones, everything inside phones in silent mode for all of you. Okay. And students who are online, you should speak up, because I'm not watching your chat. It is not actually possible to watch the chat, so please speak up. Yes, students
Resource
online and
sharing.
offline. What do you understand by inter-process communication?
Resource sharing.
Simple English, inter-process communication. Okay, give me the meaning of inter-process. Inter and process. Process inside the processes. जोर से. और English में. We have our international students also here. So English. Tried, Dhruvin. Correct? Tried. सही जा रहे हो. You are going correct. But speak in English.
It's okay, listen.
No, that's fine. Like, you guys are classmates. At least he should blend it, as you guys are trying to blend it. So fine. Dhruvin, come on. Try it out. अरे चाल से. Nobody is judging here. Hardik, what is inter-process? English word. I'm not asking technical definition. English word, inter-process. When I say you have submitted assignments late, you understand the simple English? So that is what I'm asking here. Simple English, inter-process. Or if you can understand the whole thing, inter-process communication. Students, quick, you do not have this entire class.
Our user
Mhm.
or inside our system, so it will be directed by our system or from our user that can be checked or
Correct. Absolutely right. क्या इसमें complexity थी? What was the complexity in this thing? The communication between the two processes is your inter-process communication. What I am doing, I am one process. You guys are my processes. So what I am teaching you is an inter-process communication. Online students, if you have answered in chat, okay, I'm not able to see your chat, but it is encouraged that you guys speak up. Okay, I'll be able to listen you, but as of now, I cannot read your comments, anything. So please, if you are answering, it is a request that you speak up. Prashant, you spoke. Okay, just a second. Uh, now I think it will be much better for me to hear you all. Okay. The processes in system can be dependent and cooperating, right? So what do you understand by, first of all, independent processes? Independent processes. Online students, what do you understand by independent processes?
Cannot affect or be affected.
Correct. Name? Heather.
Ma'am, processes that cannot be affected by other processes.
Correct. And who was this? Kushal?
Kushal.
Or Vivek?
Kushal.
Okay, Kushal. Okay, Kushal. And what is your name? Hassan. Okay, you are here.
Yes, I'm here.
Fine. Alright, independent processes, you guys are correctly defined. They are not affected by any execution of another process. The second are the cooperating processes, the opposite. Okay, they will get affect with the execution of another processes. Okay, the example that I gave you in the last lecture was you guys acting as independent processes. Okay, when you enrolled in the college, right? You were not associated with OS subject, so you were all on your by your own self. Now in the cooperating processes, the example that I gave was you guys getting mapped with the OS subject. That means me, the process. If I am not there, OS subject won't be conducted for you. If you guys are not there and I don't have my facilities, then OS again lecture not being conducted. So what are we at this moment of time? Cooperating processes. We are getting affected by each other's execution. Okay. The next topic was the formal definition of your inter-process communication. Okay, it is a mechanism provided by your operating system that is allowing the process to communicate with each other. This is the formal definition. So in your examination, if it is asked what is inter-process communication, you can write this definition there. Okay. Again, this communication is involving what? A process to let other process know that some event has been occurring, okay, or transfer of data has been going on. So that is what the inter-process communication is about. Processes may be running on one or more computers connected by the network. Here I gave you the example of a common network we guys are sharing, okay, and I am giving you some files. You guys are uploading some files on that common network. So what are we doing? Inter-process communications, okay. And the other names for your IPCs are inter-thread communication or inter-application communications. Okay, so in exam, if it is asked, define inter-thread communication, the same definition will go. Or in other words, inter-application communication, then also the same definition. Then we saw reasons why we should have an IPC environment. Okay, the reasons were for the information sharing, for computational speed up, for modularity, okay, and for your convenience. So these are the reasons why you should have an IPC environment. Again, I'm not going to the details. There was a very well example taken in the last session. Issues, there were data corruptions, okay, deadlock, increased complexity, and it requires processes to synchronize their processing. So these are the issues of process cooperations. Okay, if the process are not cooperating with each other, then this will be the list of issues. We saw two models. Can anyone name those two models? Just name them. Models of IPC. Correct, Sanjay. Shared memory. I gave you an example of Google Classroom here. I am process A writing a task in our shared environment. Okay, you guys are process B who is reading that task and executing whatever you have to execute using the kernels. Okay, so that is the example that I gave in shared memory. Second, message passing. Okay. Again, here I took an example of you guys giving Linux one command. Let's say the ls command. That is what I gave you in the last session, the example. You are process A. Okay, you are giving ls command. So that command or say that message is sent to your kernel. The kernel is going to process that, and from that process information, process B, let's say it is a display process. Okay, it is going to read that from the kernel, and it is going to display all the lists and the directories which are there in your root directories. Okay, so that is message passing. So these are the two models of inter-process communications. Okay, LAN, WAN, MAN, they come under network. Pratik, right? They come under network. Okay, so here they are not the correct answer. The last topic that we saw in your previous session was race condition. Anyone remembers what is race condition? Online students. Race condition. Students, you need to speak up. Dhruvil, race condition. Heather, your views on race condition. But you were there in my lecture. You even take a photo, I guess, of this slide. I remember. I remember. No, you cannot see. I said if you are sitting online, mobile phones inside. Hardik, Sanjay, race conditions. It's okay, you can see. Bolo, bolo. Online students. Tejas, Prashant, Vivek, Bansi, Yatin. What do you understand by race condition? Phones inside, I can say the C.
Ma'am, I think two processes accessing one resource at a time.
Correct, Kushant? That was Kushant, right?
Yes.
Absolutely right. In your software, there will be some shared resources. Those resources are getting used by two various processes. Okay? And when these two processes, or say the system, is attempting at the same time to access this shared process, or say the shared resource, okay, that is your race condition. For example, I am your shared resource. Okay, Dhruvil did not understand what is race condition. Similarly, Heather also did not understand what is race condition. All right, both of them coming at the same time to me to my cabin. Madam, we don't understand. Dhruvil says, I don't know what is race condition. Heather says, I know what is race condition a little bit, but I don't know how to solve this race condition. Both the processes are different, correct? The task of both the processes are different, but I am the shared resource. So now, this is a condition, okay, where it is an undesirable situation. I cannot address both of them at a time. Because if I'm addressing Dhruvil, Heather has to wait. If I'm addressing Heather, Dhruvil has to wait. Right? So the race condition is what? An undesirable situation that occurs when a device or a system attempts to perform two operations at the same time. Okay, and that is because the resource is shared. All right. Operations upon shared states are critical sections. Okay, the shared resource is known as the critical section. You will see today what is critical section. Okay, and that critical section must be mutually exclusive. What do I mean by mutually exclusive is if one process is accessing that shared resource, another process should wait for that shared resource to get free. Okay, failure to do so, if that is not happening, if mutual exclusion is not happening, then possibility of corruption of the shared data will happen. This you can take it as, suppose one file is in synchronization. I am also working, let's say we are working on one module of a software, okay, and it is patient information software. My code is on GitHub, the shared resource. Okay, you are working on validations of that one page. I am working on the same page to say, let's say, increase the fields. All right, now the synchronization is happening on that shared resource, but because I don't know that you are also doing the same work at same time, there will be data corruption. Why? Because you are keeping validations for only, let's say, 4 fields. I am increasing number of fields by 6. So exactly your work got increased, right? And your work is not complete. And why that is, even you are not at fault because you don't know that I am increasing the field. You are just doing your work for adding the validations. Okay. So this is what happens if there is no mutual exclusion. If you don't tell me that, madam, I am doing the validation right now, don't add any fields. Okay, that means he mutually excluded me. Right? I know that he is working on that page, so I am not going to do any new thing in that page. Or vice versa. I will tell him that you don't do anything new. I am adding some features into it. All right. So that is what your mutual exclusion. Now, why this race condition occurred? The reason. Okay, the very first reason is you do not know the exact order of execution of your instruction, right? Because there is no sync. So as there is no sync, anyone can give the instruction, and as we don't have any facility to ideally number them out, that first this one, then this one, then this one. So that is the reason why race condition will occur. The second thing is because you are sharing your resources. It can be your file, it can be your memory, it can be your data. Okay. So resource sharing and exact execution order is not known. So these are the two reasons why race condition shall occur. Okay. Now the example I gave you was of print spooler directory. Okay. Where you are attempting to print 2 documents at same time from your same system only, but you are attempting to print 2 documents at the same time, and suppose those 2 processes are sharing one, let's say, stack memory. Okay, then that is your race condition. So that is the example that I gave you of print spooler. Now coming to the critical section, your new topic today. Okay, from the picture, what can you make out? Give me simple answers, okay? I don't want anything regarding any technical thing. Give me simple answer. From the picture you can see on the screen, what can you describe about the picture? You can switch, okay? You have to decide which path you need to go, okay? Online students, speak up. Depends on our condition. What kind of our condition?
Which process we have to do first,
Okay. Correct.
Hello,
What
ma'am.
can you say? Yes, online students.
Decision making. Decision making.
Decision making. Okay. Now what can you say about the encircled part? Repeat, Pratik.
Whole process on going at the same time.
Okay. 4 processes going at same time because of 4 tracks. I mean 4 rail tracks because there are only 2 rail tracks, my dear. So reduce the number. Two processes. Okay. Anyone online about the encircled part?
It will be complex, some problem.
I'm switching.
Switching. Okay.
Only
The
one process
encircled
can,
part
only one
is your
train can
critical
access it at a
section.
time.
The resource that is getting shared. How shared? From track A. Okay. Let's say this is your track A. This one. Alright. There will be one train coming up. This is your track B. There is another train coming up. Okay. And this encircled part is your critical section. So what can you say about critical section? It is a part of a program which is having the shared resource, or say where exactly the shared resource is getting accessed. Okay, so the definition, formal definition of your critical section is the part of a program where the shared resource is accessed is called your critical section or critical region. And why it is called critical? Because at that point, or say at that particular resource, is where you can have the possibility of race conditions, right? So here in this picture, if 2 trains are coming at the same time, it is a race condition. Yes, Dhruv. એવું જ છે ના if I invert this picture, it will be one process getting divided into 2 processes. That is not the case. Here 2 processes acting in the same environment, they are sharing one resource. No. 2 processes doing their work simultaneously. Dhruv will understand. 2 processes doing their work simultaneously. Okay. Now in their work, they need one resource which is actually shared. Okay. So your section, the encircled one, is the shared section in order to move forward for their task. Okay. So that moving forward, this line, that single line is for moving forward. Okay. And when any one process is accessing that critical section, the other process naturally has to wait. Otherwise, there will be accident, which we don't want. So we don't want race condition. So in order to understand what is race condition, you need to understand what is critical section. Okay. So this is the formal definition of your critical section. And here I'm going to show you in technically like 2 processes. Okay, let's say process A and process B. They have some task to do. So yellow lines depict their task, the entire amount they are going to take to perform the task. Okay. Now let's say we have task T1. Okay. Now that T1 is going to, start its task. Let's say process B is initiating that T1. Okay. And the process is about printing. The simple example. Okay. Now let's say A is entering the critical region. Your process A with this printing task is entering the critical region. So that means B has to wait. Okay. So let's say this blue part is entire time taken by process A to print, or say to do task 1. B is going to wait. Okay. If it comes with T2 task, okay, B is going to try to enter it, but it will be stopped. All right. After it completes, after T1 of process A gets completed, okay, again the T3 task will initiate the task of T2. Okay. And that is happening when A is leaving the critical section. All right. Then again the B enters the critical region, B performs its task, okay, till it completes till time T4, or say till task T4 enters. All right, any doubt in this example? Online students? Students speak. Any doubts here, anyone?
Clear, ma'am, clear.
Okay. Now we need to solve this, right? This critical section problem, we need to solve this so that we don't come across any race conditions. So how can you solve it? Taking the same, first let me tell you what are the ways you can solve, all right, the critical section problem. The first is mutual exclusion. Okay, a short definition. We are going to see each of this topic in detail, but in short, what is mutual exclusion? No two process may be simultaneously inside your same critical section. So that is mutual exclusion. Okay. The example that I gave you was of Dhruvil and Heather. Okay. If Heather, I am solving doubts with Heather, Dhruvil has to wait. He cannot enter my cabin. Okay. So that is mutual exclusion. Second, bounded waiting. Okay. Where no process should wait forever to enter the critical section. Okay, if Dhruvil is waiting, he should not be waiting till the entire time he is in the college. Okay, so that is bounded waiting. Third, progress. No process running outside its critical region may block another process. Okay, in simple words, if one process is running, it should not block the other process which is working outside the critical section. Okay, so that is the progress. And the fourth one is the arbitrary speed. You cannot make any assumption. Okay, no assumption can be made about the relative speed of which process will end when. All right, though all the processes have non-zero speed, that is what I have again mentioned here. But again, you cannot define exactly that this process will end at this moment of time or at this given CPU usage, or process 2 will be ended before this one. Okay, so these are 4, you can say, the solutions for solving critical section problem. Any doubt here in this slide? Online students? Students, any doubt? Speak up.
Sorry, ma'am, but we are writing in the chat. It's clear.
I did not get. Can you speak again?
We are writing in the chat that it is clear, but we didn't know that you didn't mention.
Yeah, because I cannot see your chat. That's why I said that you guys need to speak up. I'm not able to see
so
your
it's
chat
clear.
as of now. Dhruvil, give me your phone. Give me your phone. I saw you working on your phone, using your phone. Please keep your phone here. Do not waste class time. Collect it from the student section. Whenever they are returning it to you. Okay. Coming to mutual exclusion. The topic of mutual exclusion today. As mentioned previously in the definition, your no two process, okay, will come simultaneously inside the same critical section. And how you can make sure about it? that if one process is using the shared variable or file, okay, the other process will be stopped from doing the same. There are various methods again to stop doing those process, okay, for mutual exclusion itself. Now see, again you have to see here. See, we are discussing what? Your critical section. Okay. Inside critical section, we are discussing ways to solve those critical sections. Okay. And what are those ways? First was your mutual exclusion. Okay. Second, third, and fourth. Now inside this mutual exclusion, again you are seeing the types, or say how can you stop your process. Okay. Because what does my mutual exclusion say? That when two processes are entering in my critical section, okay, then I have to stop any one process. Alright. Now in further slides, after this slide, what you are going to see is the ways and the methods to stop one process. So this is the part of mutual exclusion. Okay. This mutual exclusion is a part to solve the ways of critical section. So do not take it as any other topic, independent topic. Okay. All these things are related. Alright. And why we are doing this is what I'll just mention here. Ways to stop, let's say, P1. Okay. So there are some certain ways. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. There are certain ways of how you can tell other process to wait. Right. So you are going to see that in the next slide. Here, if you can look at the diagram, you can see two trains coming up. Right. They are going to share one critical section. So in order to stop the train which is far away, I need to do something. Alright, so what I'll give one signal to stop. Right? We generally say that my train stopped because there is no signal. Signal aji nathi maidu. We say that, right? So that is what your stop signal. The train, second train will be having a red signal so that the first train can pass through that critical section, and after that the green signal will be given to the remaining one. Okay. So that is your mutual exclusion. This is the example that you can write in your examination also, but explain in a very well detailed format. Please do not write there is train 1, train 2. Okay, they are sharing one same set of rails. So I will stop one, another will go. Please do not write like this. Please write in a very good manner. Mutual exclusion with busy waiting. Okay, so here are the ways to stop the other process or to notify other process that you need to stop. Okay, what are those ways? The very first is disabling the interrupt, the hardware approach. There will be both the approaches. Okay, with software approach also you can give the signal to the process 1 that you stop. With hardware approach also you can tell other process to stop. Okay, so the very first one is disabling your interrupts. That means sending the signal. All right. Second is shared lock variable. You will lock the variable for, let's say, if P1 and P2 are there. Okay, and P2 is using this shared memory. Okay, then for this P1 you are going to do what? The locking system. That P1 cannot access this shared memory. So what you did to stop the P1? So that is your shared lock variable. Okay, and it is your software approach. Strict alteration, again a software approach. Okay, you will be altering, or say you will be keeping some conditions that will alter P1 from accessing the resource if P2 is accessing it at the same time. Okay, so that is again your software approach. Third is test and set lock instruction, hardware approach. This you'll need one example, so I'll explain it to you when we are discussing this point. Okay, but just remember the name, TSL instruction, that is test and set lock instruction, which is your again a hardware approach. Exchange the instruction, again an hardware approach. Okay, Decker's solution, this is one of an algorithm. Okay, software approach. And the last one is Peterson's solution, again a software approach. We are going to discuss all these topics. Okay, and again you need to remember that they are coming under this topic of mutual exclusion. That is how you are going to stop this P1. Okay, again this mutual exclusion is inside your critical section solution, how you are going to solve this critical section. All right, the first one is disabling the interrupts. Okay, the hardware approach. Now, as the name suggests, what you are going to do is you are going to disable the interrupts. How? Suppose you have process A and B. The blue lines, okay, the blue regions are your critical section. All right, and they are performing some task, T1, T3, T4, T2. All right. Now, let's say I have a condition that if that condition is true, that means process A is going to access the shared resource. Okay, it is going to disable the interrupt. Disable the interrupt of your hardware, that is CPU. Okay, that process A is going to do, so that any other process apart from process A cannot work on that shared resource. Okay, till what timing this interrupt is going to get disabled? Till process A is in the critical section. That entire time your interrupt will be disabled. After it is working in the critical section, okay, at the end, what it is going to do, it is going to enable the interrupt again, the hardware. Okay, so when it does that, process B will now be able to work on its task. Again, it is going to, same procedure will happen with process B. Process B will again disable the interrupt because now it is using the shared resource. So now process A cannot use that shared resource anymore. Okay, once T4 or say process B is completing its task, again it is going to do what? Enable the section, or say the enable your interrupt. Okay, and remaining section, by remaining section I mean that process B is going to enter the critical region in that remaining section. Yes. Because you are disabling the interrupt, the signal giving. Yes, the signal giving, what you are using, you are either using software to stop or you are doing some mechanism using the hardware to stop. Okay, so in your hardware, if CPU is not recognizing your signals that are sent, so that is a hardware thing. We are not taking up the signal only. So who does that signal taking up or say signal analysis? Your CPU. So that is your hardware approach. Okay. But there is one problem, not one, exactly three. Let's say, I'll take one example again here. Let's say Kushant and Hiba. Okay, both of them are trying to access me for their doubt solving session. Okay, let's say Hiba comes first to me. Now she tells in the group that I am with madam for doubt solving session. So what she did, she initiated disabling the interrupt. So no other student can come to my cabin, right? She completed her session, fine. But she forgot to inform in the group that now madam is free. Whoever wants to come next, they can come. So ideally what she did, she forgot to again enable the interrupt. So the students who are waiting to solve their doubts will have a image entire time that Hiba is with madam only. Madam is not free. So that means the shared resource is not free. So that is the problem, that it is unwise to give user process the power to turn off the interrupts. What if the user forgets? Okay, that is the next sentence. What if one of them did disable the interrupt but never turned them on, right? That could be the end of the system. No process will be then completing its another task except for process A, and again process A is leaving the critical region, fine. So if the system is a multiprocessor, okay, with 2 or more CPUs, disabling the interrupt will affect only the CPU that executed the disable instruction. What about rest of the CPUs? They will be facing the problem because one of the CPU has been disabled, right? And it is not getting, let's say, enabling command to enable its interrupts. So that is the problem here with disabling the interrupts. Any doubt here? Online students? Okay. The last topic for this session, that is shared lock variable approach. Again, a software approach. Here what you are going to do is, you are going to set a value 0 or 1. Okay. Before entering the critical region, the process is going to check this value, the shared lock value. If it is 1, it is not going to enter the critical region, because 1 is because of what? Another process already using that shared resource. If it is 0, then it is first going to update that value from 0 to 1, and then it will start processing or doing its task. Okay. So if the value of lock is 0, then set it to 1 before entering the critical region, and enters the critical section. Again, you have to set it to 0 immediately after leaving the critical region, so that another process can use it. Okay. If the value of lock is 1, then wait till it becomes 0 by some other process which is already inside the critical section. Okay. This much for today. This much for today. I did not write that's all from this unit. It is just thank you. Online students, any doubt so far?
No, ma'am. Okay.
Okay. TD1 students, numbers in the chat. Thank you all for attending the session. Offline students, please wait. TD2 students numbers in the chat.
Hello, mom. Hello, mom.
Please just wait.
Good morning,
Wait.
ma'am.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes, Angam.
Ma'am, I'm Waha, but my internet is broken. Can I attend it here?
What is your number?
4051.
4051.
51.
Hello, mom. I have same issue
Yes,
actually.
Shanity.
Okay,
I
ma'am.
couldn't write
Thank
in the
you.
chat box.
What is your number? TD1?
TD2
Sorry.
4038.
TD2 403
Yes, ma'am. 38.
38.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yes.
breakfast આપણે પરફોર્મ કર્યા એ ગૂગલ ક્લાસરૂમમાં કયા સ્લોટ્સમાં અપલોડ કરવાનું બધા
Practical 1 and 2 only, Vivek. Vivek, you asked me this question in WhatsApp, right?
યસ યસ
I'll reply you there only.
Okay.
I need to take attendance for the online students, that's why.
ઓકે ઓકે
મારે બાકી રહી ગઈ.
Vasu, what is write your number in the chat.
લખી નાખો ઈ તો.
Are nakho?
અરે લખી નાખો. પાછો નાખું.
No.
થઈ ગઈ ને.